וזכור בדיבורך השמיענו אל המיוחד אדון.
I do it different. What is it?
אל המיוחד. No.
השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה לקראת שבת לכו ונכה כי היא מקור הברכה מראש מקדם. Yeah, that's what I do. Like I connect the last. I go straight up. And the same in here, the same in.
Adonai echad ushmo. No. Ushmo echad l'shem multiferet. Yeah. Okay. Good.
And I'm just doing Magatlu Masechaya Masechaya Mehodamku Mashevotecha Magatlu Magatlu Masechaya
Shabbat Shalom.
I guess we're already in there.
Why can't I find Lechuneran in here?
It's at the very beginning. It's in here. It's part of the.
It's not in the index though.
Really? No.
Yeah.
It's right before 1:30. And it's just the first verse.
Yeah, and they don't have it in the songs. That's really interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm really surprised. Yeah. כי גדול אדוני ומלך גדול על כל אלוהים אשר בידו מלך כלי ארץ ותועפות הרים לו לכו נרננה לכו נרננה לכו נרננה לאדוני. Right.
So how do I do it? I do it like I found it.
נריה נריה לצור ישנו נקדמה פניו נקדמה נקדמה פניו
נקדמה פניו בתודות. Yeah, I was saying it.
נקדמה פניו בתודות
נקדמה פניו בתודה.
נקדמה פניו בתודה. נריה נריה לצור ישנו בזמירות נריה לו. לכו נרננה.
And then he moves it.
לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני.
So you just, yeah. And then we can repeat.
נריה לצור ישנו, נקדמה פניו בתודה.
נקדמה פניו בתודה. נקדמה פניו בתודה. Do you want me to put the sing help?
נקדמה פניו בתודה. נקדמה פניו בתודה. נריה נריה
It's almost like
לצור ישנו.
It's the same rhythm, but
Nekadma fanav betod. You want to add an N in there, don't you? Nekadma fanav betoda.
I do.
Bizmirot narialo.
Similar, yeah. That's
Nekadma fanav betoda. Bizmirot narialo.
no, it's that rhythm I meant. I mean,
right.
I guess.
Kadma fanav betoda. Bum ba bum ba 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 bum 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 ba 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 bum bum ba bum ba 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 bum.
Yeah, that one you can flourish because
Right.
it's the end of it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, he could squeeze more syllables into one line than I'd ever heard before.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Esther ou Victor. Kam lachem.
I'll be
Tennessee River. Nekadma fana betoda. Naria, Naria, Tsuri Shenu. Vizmiro Nariado.
Oh yeah, it does it on yeah. So they started. It starts 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I think for some of us it's been kind of a trying week. So it's nice to have you here as we push aside the cares of the week and just refocus our attention on things a little bit more sacred, and hopefully taking some time for ourselves just to be in the world the way that we want to be in the world. So we're going to begin with our opening song is on page 636, Yedid Nefesh, Heart's Delight, Source of Mercy. Draw your servants into your arms.
Yedid nefesh av harachamam meshoch avdecha el retzonecha yarutz avdecha kemo
We turn back to page 126 with an English reading, and let's read together. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We now turn to page 121 and 120 for our Shabbat candle lighting. It's my pleasure to invite Esther up to light our candles for us.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshani b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you. Good Shabbos. We now continue on page 130 with the singing of Lehuna Ranana. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai.
We will do the first verse. Lehune ranena, lehune ranena, lehune ranena, l'Adonai. Lehune ranena, lehune ranena, lehune ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letsur yishenu, nekadma fanav betodah. Naria, naria, letsur yishenu, bismirot naria lo. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letsur yishenu, nekadma fanav betodah. Naria, naria, letsur yishenu, bismirot naria lo. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, l'Adonai.
We continue on page 138 with the singing of Lecha Dodi, this beautiful gift of the mystics of Tzfat, who would go out to the field all dressed in white to welcome the Shabbat bride and the Shabbat queen. As usual, we'll be singing stanzas 1, 2, 5, and 9, and if it's comfortable to do so, just before 9, we will rise and face the door that we all came in through, as we will poetically, metaphorically, literally welcome the Shabbat bride and queen, not only into our sanctuary tonight, but into our hearts and souls as well.
Lecha dodi likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kahala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha, ishmi'anu ehanu echad, Adonai echad, ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו בניך, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נשורך, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני, עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
be seated, and we continue on page 40, kind of in the middle of the page, kind of 4 lines up from the indent, the unindented part for Magadlu.
Magadlu, Masechaya, Mehodamku, Machevotecha, Magadlu, Magadlu, Masechaya, Masechaya, Mehodamku, Mashevotecha.
We turn to the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitkada v'yitkada Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma difrach Yehutev Yom Likmal Chutei.
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב.
V'yimeru
אמן.
Yahei Shmei
רבה מבורך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitala Shemei L'Kudashah
ברכו.
Le'ila mikol birchata v'shirahata
ושמחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה.
V'yimeru.
Amen.
We turn to the Baruch Hu, our call to worship on page 146, and again, if it's comfortable to do so, please rise. Please be seated, and we continue on page 148. And before we read the Ma'ariv, Aravim together in the Hebrew, I invite you to think about what it is in the natural world that surprises you when you become aware of it. Let's read together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim, בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עיתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום ולילה, כולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב, ערבים. Page 150, we praise God for the gift of the Torah, Ahavat Olam.
אהבת
עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נצליח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגן יומם ולילה.
ואחוותך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמו ישראל.
אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
ברוך שם כבוד, שם כבוד, מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please join us in chanting the Ve'ahavta, page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai
אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
And we turn to page 158 for the singing of Micha Mocha, our song of freedom.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה.
מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה הניעמו ואמרו
יתפללו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Page 160, we find Hashkivenu, that traditionally is part of the nighttime or the bedtime Shema, a beautiful thing. If you look at the English while we're singing, you can do two things at once. This whole idea of the protection that we're asking for, and this imagery of sort of God's sort of like a big talit wrapping us while we're sleeping, that doesn't overheat us in the hot weather. But that sense of protection that we all desire and sometimes really need. Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor seteinu uvoenenu
לחיים ושלום
ve'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue on with the Amidah on page 164, and again, if it's comfortable to do so, please rise.
Adonai sefatai kitach ufia kitehilatecha.
Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, העליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם עיני, מקיים עתיד הרב ומושיע, משריב אתה, מחרף נוטל חיים בחסד, מקיימת דין ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך על גבורות, ומידו מהלך, ברך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, למען החיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה המתים.
We read together on the top of page 171. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. We continue the Amidah silently to page 178, and feel free to choose the readings that resonate with you the greatest, and you may be seated when you're ready.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim
Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael, bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
take a moment for silent reflection. So at this time in our service, we will offer a prayer for healing, Misha Barach, for those in need of healing of the body, the mind, or the spirit. In addition to all of us who have had to live through this pandemic for the last year and a half, in addition to us, generally, I will specifically mention the following names: Gretchen Haynes, Minna Bot-Yentel, Mordechai Bendina, Judith Bond Bretnell, Roan Hausman, Belinda Salznick, Heather Barnett, Jonathan Herrera, Ana Herrera, Carmen Torres, Simon Carlo, Barbara Burton, Vicky Pashman, Miles Rodriguez, Sally Kovacevic, Ana Carlo, Judy Roheim, Maureen Corcoran, Sally DeWitt, Fredel Tamara Batliba Bela, Vicky Firstel, and Monty Pittman. Are there any additional names that you would like to mention at this time for those that you know need our prayers for healing? Thank you. Thank you. I'll add Michael Waxman.
Antonio Lares Silvera.
Storm Matthews, Jennifer Tiven, Kim Delfino, Karen Sue Amon, Ron Johnson, Lindy Johnson, and Leslie Barnard.
We also think of those whose names we may have chosen not to mention aloud, but keep in our hearts And we think about those whose names we may not know at all, those who may have a roof over their head but are alone and lonely inside of their dwellings. We particularly think of all the essential workers that have been helping us get through this year and a half, especially those in the medical fields. And we think about those worldwide that are suffering from a wide variety of social and economic strife. So as we join together in the middle of page 371, we pray for a healing of the body, the mind, and the spirit.
Avotenu, Mekor habracha, Leimotenu, may the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu, Mekor habracha, Lavotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom again to everyone. So this Shabbat is known as Tu B'Av, the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Av. In a sense, it's Jewish Valentine's Day, a day to celebrate the love from spouses, partners, families, and friends. Originally in Second Temple times, Tu B'Av was a day of joy and celebration that marked the betrothal of unmarried young women to their future husbands. In the glow of a full summer moon, the daughters of Jerusalem would go outside the temple walls, dressed in white, and dance in the vineyards. The men would follow with the hope of finding a bride. And according to Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, the young women would exclaim, "Young man, lift up your eyes and see what you choose for yourself. Do not set your eyes on beauty, but set them on good family. Grace is deceitful and beauty vain, but a woman that fears God, she will be praised." So I think there's a very poignant coincidence that Tu B'Av falls during this week's Torah reading of this week's Torah portion, Vet Hanan, which focuses on God's love and our love for God. In Vet Hanan, found in the book of Deuteronomy, we find verses that we know and we have just recited as the Shema and the Ve'ahavta. So we're going to look in our prayer books at the Ve'ahavta, which you will find on page 154. So they might say that love is in the air this weekend. So the first paragraph of the Shema is known as the Ve'ahavta. In it, there's an acceptance of the yoke of the kingdom of heaven, of our duty to love God. It's chanted according to Shabbat Torah cantillation. It's in the second person singular, so that it speaks to each of us very personally and profoundly. There's a custom to touch the tzitzit, or the fringes, or our fingers, prayer book to our arm, and then to our forehead, to tefillin if you're wearing them during the week. When reciting, bind them to your hand and set them between your eyes. And then to kiss the tzitzit through your fingers or the prayer book. So looking over some of these verses, You shall love Adonai your God with all of your heart and with all of your soul and with all your might. You shall love. Can you be commanded to love? These words inspire us to act lovingly and with a sense of obligation, loyalty, devotion, and acceptance of a covenantal obligation. In the ancient Near East, the vassal suzerain treaties, love did not mean romantic love, but meant obligation and responsibilities. The word lavav, with all your heart, which the ancients believed to be the seat of our intellect as well as our emotions. So we have our intellect, our emotions, and our intentions involved here. With our nefesh, with all of your soul, person, body, breath, life itself. And ma'od, with all of your, literally, muchness, or excess even. Could be physical strength, might, your resources, they may be monetary possessions, your capacities, your talents. So the impact on this phrase is really to be engaged and committed with our whole being. Perhaps the heart is our study, the soul is our prayer, might could be our deeds, the three pillars of Judaism. And these words which I command you today shall be upon your heart. These words rule our heart. We are to internalize them. Impress them upon your children. Vishinantan. We are instructed to teach Torah to our children so that we pass our heritage on to the next generation of Jews. The rabbis also understood this instruction to encompass an obligation to engage in our own lifelong learning. Speak about them. Vidibarta bam. The phrase speak about them can also mean act upon them. It is not enough for us to teach our children. We must also show them by our personal example how to act. When you sit in your home and when you walk on your path, these words inform how we live our private and our public lives. When you lie down and when you rise up. These words are the last thing on our minds before we fall asleep, and the first as we get up in the morning, and at all times in between. Basically, our lives are to be shaped by Torah 24/7, in public and in private. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and let them be as a frontlet between your eyes, yadecha and einecha. And since we humans will always need reminders of what is expected of us, we are taught to bind the words of Torah upon our hands and between our eyes. Literally taken, we find, other than on Shabbat and on holy days, the wearing of tefillin on our arms and on our foreheads. Figuratively, it could mean to keep these teachings of the Torah close at hand and right between our eyes. And write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Uvtaftam. To attach a mezuzah on the portals that we walk through, the portals that separate the public from the private, that identify us as Jews. This reminds us of the centrality of Torah in all facets of our life journey. We all know that love requires great effort and work. Both Tu B'Av and the Ve'ahavta invite us to be reflective and thoughtful about how we show our love. Jewish tradition emphasizes deed rather than creed. The Shema is really our only statement of creed. We emphasize action rather than belief. And Judaism understands that love is best expressed through our actions, our behaviors. Today is a great day to enhance our relationships with God and with one another. So I'll wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a Happy Tu B'Av. So we will turn back to our prayer books now for the Aleinu, page 586, 86, 88, and 91. And again, if it's comfortable to do so, please rise as we will open the ark. Please be seated. We turn to page 595 as we prepare for the mourner's Kaddish. There are stars up above, so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. The Kaddish can be found on page 598. We are currently still in the year, in the period of Shana up to 1 year for Mark Cohn, Lorraine Beverly Sclaver, Judy Waxman, Tibor Pirazet, Paul Hussman, Herbert Barton, Margaret Winkler, and Charles Hickman. Between this Shabbat and next Shabbat, we are observing Yahrzeits for Ida Graves Mandel, Molly Ross, Bernard Kaplan, Rena Schaub, Peter Bush, Ben Glazer, Ezekiel Malin, and Maureen Rosen. Are there any additional names to be added, or the pronunciation of any names to be corrected? Thank you. Thank you. We also think of those who have died from COVID in the last year, and we are also mindful of those who died in the Holocaust at this time who may not have anyone to say the Kaddish for them, as we now join as a congregation to support the mourners among us. And you may either remain seated or rise according to your tradition. Yit Gadol, Yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma Divra Chirutei, V'yamlich Malchutei, V'chai Echon V'yom Echon, V'chai Dechol Beit Yisrael,
בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה. דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה. וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and together we say amen. Please be seated, and it's my pleasure to invite Gus up to the bima to make the announcements. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to everybody. Thanks, Rabbi, for another lovely service, and Lady and John. Lovely music. Always a lot going on, even summertime, competing against the Olympics here, but got some good stuff coming up, including tomorrow morning, where there'll be there's going to be covenant conversations. This is in person and on Zoom at 9:30 a.m. And then following that, there'll be a Shacharit service at 10:30, also in person and on Zoom, or BS on YouTube, sorry. Not the same thing. Now, we're having services again next weekend. They'll be at Beth Shalom if you're making plans for next Shabbat already. Coming up on July 25th, which is Sunday, 3 p.m., the book club's going to meet and discuss the conversion. So whether you've read the book or not, you're invited. Looks like an interesting read. Big news on August 22nd, if you haven't marked your calendars yet, 4 p.m., that's a Sunday, August 22nd. There's a membership unification vote. So it's to discuss the unification between Beth Shalom and B'nai Israel. So important date. The last thing I'm going to mention, because all this is on the website, which is easy to find. You got to Google it. Beth Shalom Baton Rouge will get you there. We have our 75th anniversary celebration. It's going to be the weekend of August 13th. It's the activities on 13th, 14th, 15th. So keep an eye on your email. Go to the website. A couple of things require RSVPs, so you will want to sign up. It's exciting. The Soferet Julie Seltzer will be in town. If you hadn't seen this process before, it's a lasting memory. So definitely try to make it there. Wish everybody Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And the things that you have to sign up for is that you also will have an opportunity to help the Soferet repair, do some repairs on our Holocaust tour. We're going to repair the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments in the book of Exodus. And there are time slots to come in, and you can actually write letters in the Torah with her guidance. So that's what you need to sign up for. Everything else, in terms of services, she'll be teaching on Friday night. She'll be teaching a Torah study. She'll be teaching after services, Shabbat morning. And then on Sunday as well. And also on that Friday, I think between 12 and 3 in the afternoon, she will be starting some repairs that people can watch, and she can explain what she's doing. But if you want, on that Sunday, those are the time slots to actually sign up to come in and help repair like a letter. Depends on how many people sign up, I guess, about how much you do. So please do plan on not going on vacation that week. I'd also like to let you know that the mailings went out for the consolidation vote. If you didn't get one yesterday or today, and for some reason don't get it tomorrow, please let the, I was gonna say let the office know, but Melissa's out for the whole week. So, why don't you, send me an email if you didn't get your booklet, your pamphlet, from the mailing. And that would be if you're a member of Beth Shalom and you didn't get one.
We have a specially trained golden retriever who will bring it to you in person.
In docs, no, it wouldn't be in person, it would be in.
Yes. So our closing song tonight can be found on page 643. Gesher Tsar Ma'od, and I realized that this is written by Chattanooga Talit. One of my Congregants there made this Talit for me, and of course it is the river and the fish in the river, and this is the bridge that's on the Atara. So very symbolic. I did it more because the people all in the book of Deuteronomy, the Israelites are on the other side of the Jordan waiting to cross to go into the promised land, and that's kind of why symbolically I wore my bridge talit tonight. But then our closing song tonight is Gesher Tsar Ma'od. The entire world is but a narrow bridge. The most important thing is not to be afraid.
All right, 643. Kol haolam kulo, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Kol haolam kulo, Gesher Tsar Me'od, Gesher Tsar Me'od, והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל.
I guess we're gonna stop it there. Okay.
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Wait, and kind of yell a Shabbat Shalom across the room to each other.
Shabbat Shalom!
Wave. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you have a good Shabbos. If we see you in the morning, that would be wonderful. If we don't, I don't take roll, so don't worry about that. But it is nice to see you. And thank you for making a minyan tonight. I really appreciate it. Be safe out there. We already rolled the chair, so that's good. Thank you, Lily. Really, really beautiful as usual.
Yeah, we